All right, I just wanted to make a quick video about something I've been, studying and research, and that's the science of weight loss and muscle gain. Uh, you know, um, People were saying to me, hey Jess, you're looking, bigger if you bulked up, and the truth was I was just gaining weight, and I would say no, I've been eating more Twinkies, and I tell you what, really, I think I was drinking a lot of Monster drinks, which are very high in calorie. They're a calorie dense drink. I think it's 230 calories per bottle. And so just drinking Monster drinks every day was just surging my calorie intake. So I was just gaining weight. I was up to 183 pounds, which is overweight for me. I'm only 5'7". I really should be, closer to like 160. But I was 183, and so that was just overweight for me, and I could see it. I'm gaining around the waist, and I used to, as a teenager, I had this six pack, and that had been gone since I was 20. So for 20 years, that's been gone, and I just keep watching my stomach get bigger and bigger. And I know, if I don't get ahead of this, then I'm gonna I could become, just very fat and obese into my old age. And I always told myself, as soon as I start seeing myself, developing a gut, I'm going to get ahead of it, and I'm going to just, fast it off and, burn off that fat. And so when I turned 40, back in November, I decided, I'm going to make fitness and health my priority. Every year I pick one thing to really focus on. And this year I'm focusing on health and fitness because, you live longer if you can just maintain good health. And so I was able to change my diet, change my habits, and I was able to get my weight. I weighed this morning at 165. And so, gradually it's going down from 183, then it was like 75, 170, 167, now 165. If you can lose, like 5 pounds a month, that's a pretty good pace. And I think my body fat, just by the measurements and this body fat calculator, is about 17%. And I'd like to get it down to about 11%, because if you can get to like 11% body fat, that's when you get your six-pack abs back. And I know once I can see those abs, then I really got rid of the belly fat, and that's what I wanted, just to get rid of that belly fat. And so the abs are always there for everybody, but you just can't see them behind all the fat. And so it's just a marker for me. Once I can, see the six-pack abs I had as a teenager, that I really got rid of all that belly fat. A friend of mine, some of you guys know Ruben, was a good preacher, and one time I saw him, and I said, you've lost a lot of weight. What have you done? And he told me his thing was just smaller portions. He was pretty big, and then when I saw him, he was looking pretty strong and bulky, and it was a big difference. And he said, if he normally would eat two of something, then he's only eating one. So just whatever you normally eat. He didn't change his diet. He's not on some strange diet, eating some strange foods. He's not cutting out this and cutting out that. All he's doing is eating smaller portions. Whatever he normally eats, he just now eats half of that. And he lost about half of his, weight at the time, and he was looking really good. And so there's, different myths and facts out there about weight loss. I remember when it was a big thing of just, cut out the carbs. And that was like a diet, a no carb diet, cut out the breads and cut out the pasta. And it's really not about carbs. It's not, carbs are a necessary nutrient of the body. The body, gets glycogen, which is energy for the muscles, from carbs. And so you need carbs. If you want some energy for your muscles, you can't cut out the carbs. But you can cut back on the carbs. If you have a high carb diet, eating lots of breads and lots of pastas, you can control the portions better. And that's something I started to do. Instead of just eating, big helpings of carbs, I have, changed up the division of my plate to have more, a good helping of the veggies, a good helping of the carbs, and really prioritize the protein, because it takes more calories to burn or to digest protein than it does carbs. And so it's really not about carbs. My point is that it's all about your calorie intake. There's a calorie deficit which is, less calories than your body needs to maintain its current weight. And that's also when you're expelling more calories than you're taking in, so you have a calorie deficit, and that's where you lose weight. Then there's calorie maintenance, which is the amount of calories you need to maintain your current body weight. And then there's a calorie surplus, which is when your body's taking in more calories than it's consuming. And that's definitely what those Monster drinks were doing for me. They're a high dense drink of calories, and it was just putting me into a calorie surplus. So I just kept gaining weight slowly and gradually, because I was just consuming. I was taking in more calories than I was expelling. And so there's different foods that are calorie dense and then calorie light. And so you can eat like Oreo cookies, and they're packed full of calories. I mean, and you could eat 1, 2, or 3 of those and you're not full yet, because it's a small food, but it's calorie dense. But then you have like things like strawberries. You could eat a whole bucket full of strawberries and get full off of it, but you still haven't consumed as many calories as you would have eating a handful of cookies. And so you need to look at the calorie intake of the foods that you're eating. And I'm not even doing like calorie counting. I'm not sure how many calories per day I'm eating, but what I am doing is to make sure I have a calorie deficit. I've switched to more of like a 1 or 2 meal a day diet, where I have a very late and very light breakfast. Usually around noon, I'll have maybe some. If I have a healthy breakfast, like if after a workout, then I'll have like a lot of eggs. And eggs are full of good protein, and But if I'm going for a light breakfast, I'll just go for some Greek yogurt, which is also good protein, and then I'll have a nice big dinner around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And so and some days I really don't do a breakfast at all. Maybe just a little protein shake, and then just a nice big dinner. And so I'm making sure that I'm in a calorie deficit. Just by how many meals I'm eating and what types of food that I'm eating. And that's how I've been able, to lose weight the past couple months. I haven't been doing a lot of cardio. A lot of people think, you can do cardio to lose weight. You can, because cardio burns a lot of calories. But you could go for a run, burn a bunch of calories, come home and eat a bunch of Oreo cookies, and you just put on all those calories that you thought you burnt off. It's like an hour of running, it does burn calories, but you can regroup those calories very quickly just by eating high density calorie foods. So cardio is good, but that's not how I'm losing weight. And I haven't cut out the carbs. I've just minimized the carbs and prioritized the protein. My intermittent fasting schedule is probably about in like an 8-16 split. So for 16 hours I'm fasting, and then I have an eating window of about 8 hours. And in that 8 hours is when I'm eating a light breakfast, and then maybe a snack, and then a nice big dinner. The dinner is the real meal of the day. And I think that goes back to our ancestors too. You go in the morning, the hunter-gatherers, they go hunting and gathering in the morning. They're maybe snacking on some berries, and just drinking some water, and then they bring home the game meat for the big feast at night. And the dinner is the real meal. Same thing with the ancient Greeks, and I've been studying that, and just my ancestry as well. And they would have a very light breakfast, maybe a snack for lunch, and then it was mainly the main meal of the day was that dinner. But like I said, protein burns more calories being digested than carbs. So by switching to more of a 1 meal a day diet, by prioritizing protein over the carbs, and also by lifting weights. There's my bench press, and I got dumbbells, and I've been doing full body workouts twice a week with 3 days of recoveries, because the body takes 72 hours to fully recover and to build back bigger after a workout. And it fits my schedule just to do two full body workouts a week. The body burns more calories by maintaining muscle mass than it does maintaining fat. So if you're switching to, from muscle to fat, from fat to muscle, you're going to burn more calories just by doing that. Just like if you switch from high carbs to high protein, you're going to burn more calories by doing that. And that's without going jogging and running and cardio and all those other things. So, just watch the calorie intake, get on a calorie deficit, watch what types of foods you're eating, if they're calorie dense or calorie light. Emphasize protein, switch to muscle building. And what I'm going to do, my plan is, basically on a calorie deficit, so I'm cutting. And that means I'm burning all this belly fat, and but at the same time I'm lifting weights so that I can offset any muscle loss during a calorie deficit. I've actually been able to do some muscle gain and strength gains during this calorie deficit, because it's a pretty light deficit. And then once I get down to the body fat percentage that I want, then I'll switch to more of a bulk and have a slight calorie surplus while continuing with the weights and exercise, so that I can build muscle mass. And that way the calories will go where I want them, instead of just on a calorie surplus, all the extra calories going to the waistline and belly fat. By getting rid of all that belly fat and working out, when I go on a calorie surplus, all those surplus calories can go to building the muscles and the arms and the legs that I'm working on. Now, there's a correlation between strength and longevity, and there's a correlation between obesity and mortality. And that's, the whole point of me changing things up. Now that I'm 40, it's a tipping point. They say once you turn 40, you will lose 1 or 2% muscle mass a year for the rest of your life, unless you offset it with lifting weights. And so my plan now, I want to gain muscle mass every year instead of losing muscle mass. Now that I'm 40, I want to gain it. I want to be that guy who's in his 50s and 60s who looks, all, fit and healthy, and he can go walking with his grandkids. He can go outing, on outings with the family. He can go, go places and do things. So I want to be fit and healthy through my 40s, my 50s, my 60s, even into my 70s and 80s. I always want to be healthy and fit so that I could be used of the Lord. I could be a blessing to my family. But there's a correlation between strength and longevity, especially with your legs. If you have strong legs, so you don't want to skip leg day. You want to do your squats and all that, because a lot of older people, they'll die from falls. If you fall down the stairs, if you trip over something, if you have weak legs, you're more prone to injury. And so I think that's why there's this study that shows a correlation between leg strength and longevity. And then, of course, obesity and mortality go together, because obesity is hard on your organs, on all your vital organs, your livers and your kidneys and your lungs and your heart. And so you're just, increasing a lot more wear and tear on those vital organs by carrying around a lot of extra weight. So anyways, that's my little health and fitness journey, and some of the things I've learned, the science behind burning fat and muscle building. The protein is for muscle building. I didn't mention that. I mean, a lot of people know that already. But basically, you can imagine a factory that, you can't build without the proper materials. You can't cook without the right ingredients. Well, the body needs protein to build muscle. That's what muscle is built out of. It's protein synthesis. And so you have to give your body what it needs to build muscle, if that's what you're going for. And so, that's the science of what I've learned. You need a calorie deficit, and then a calorie surplus, if that, is where you're at in your phase, if you want to build more muscle. But if you want to lose weight, you need to go on a calorie deficit. And that's all it takes. It's not the cardio. It's not cutting out the carbs. It's not cutting out the sugars. It's simply, making sure that your daily calorie intake is a calorie deficit. And that's it. God bless you guys.